Hey everyone, this is Blake with Worn and Wound, and today we're going to take a look at the Benarus Megalodon 500. This is a really cool, unique dive watch that pairs some really nice dive components. 4 millimeter thick dome sapphire crystal, really bright lume on the dial, 500 meter water resistance, with some very interesting, unique design elements. Again, taking a look at the dial, the sort of interesting tooth design. Calling back to the Megalodon shark. Some interesting shapes to the case, as well as this nice double crown design. So retailing for $850, the watch is powered by an ETA 2824-2 movement, excuse me. And as I mentioned, is really solidly built. So let's take a closer look. All right, so now I want to take a closer look at the case of the Megalodon. So the Megalodon is named after the now extinct sort of super shark. And it sort of gets a lot of its design elements from that idea. So it's very large. The diameter of the case is 47 millimeters. It's 55 millimeters lug to lug, and it's got a thickness of 16.5 millimeters. And then there's also this sort of shark tooth design on the dial, which we'll talk about in a minute. So taking a look at the watch, from the front, it's got this very sort of geometric shape to it. It's got the symmetry of the two crowns sticking out here on the side. And, generally speaking, it's got a nice big dial. There's not too much space taken up by the bezel, looking at it from the front. Taking a look at the side here, you'll see the two signed crowns, which are very easy to adjust and feel with your fingers. And then, probably the most pronounced detail, viewing it here from the side, are these lugs. So they're turned down very sharply, I believe in an effort to limit the width of the watch from lug to lug. And it does a nice job of that. It actually sits on your wrist fairly comfortably given its size. And then moving here to the other side, you also see that there is a helium escape valve positioned in the middle. It's a little tough to see on the back, but the back is a screw-down case back with the various watch details printed on the back, as well as the Megalodon, shark jaw iconic imagery. All right, so I just wanted to quickly just take a little bit closer look at the crowns on this watch. So they're very well built, and they feel really nice to adjust. They measure 8 millimeters in diameter, and they protrude 5 millimeters off the case. So this top crown adjusts the internal bezel. So it is a non-screw-down crown, and it's bidirectional, as you can see. And I've seen crowns like this on a number of watches that adjust the internal bezel, and this has one of the nicest feels. It's very fluid. It's not difficult to turn, but it's also incredibly rigid and really stops exactly where you want it to. So I have to say I'm really pleased with how this crown has been implemented and how it feels on the watch. And then moving here to the crown towards the bottom, it's a screw-down crown to adjust the time. And as with any at 2824-2, in first position you could wind the watch. If you pull it out one click, you can adjust the date, as so, and the date window is right here on the dial between 4 and 5 o'clock, and then pull it all the way out and you can adjust the time. And it is a hacking movement, as you can see. And then just screwing it back in is really easy, just pushing it down and tightening the crown. Again, this crown, very well built, well implemented, really nice feel on both crowns on this watch. All right, so you can see here now we're taking a closer look of the dial of the Megalodon 500. So it's a super clean dial, pretty simple, but there's also a lot to talk about. So we'll start with just the general markings. You'll see here at 6 o'clock, it says automatic and 500 meters, referring to the water resistance. And you have this nice clean Benarus logo at 12 o'clock, which I really like. And then, of course, you have your date window here between 4 and 5 o'clock. It's nice that the date window is white text on black background, matching the rest of the black dial. So sort of, I'm not sure if the camera can pick it up, but then where these teeth come into play, it's really a second layer of the dial. And each of these teeth are, again, referring to the Megalodon shark. And they're all uniform in size, one for each hour, except for 12 o'clock, which is a slightly larger tooth. And they are lumed, and they're painted on quite evenly, and they look really nice and clean and pop very well on the dial. And then just taking a look here on the very outer edge of the dial, you see the indicators for the minutes or the seconds, depending on how you're reading it, which again rotate here with the rotating bezel. Taking a look at the hands of the Megalodon, they are steel fence post style hands with loomed white paint along the sort of outer 2/3 of the hand. And then you also have the second hand with this diamond shape towards the tip. Okay, so here you can see the Megalodon on my wrist. Despite the fact that it is so large, 47 millimeters in diameter and 55 lug to lug, it sits really comfortably on my wrist. I think it looks sort of appropriately sized, especially if you're into larger watches. I don't think this will come as a surprise at all. It is very heavy to wear on this metal bracelet. Sized for my wrist, it weighs just under 300 grams, and with all of the links that came with the watch, it exceeds 300 grams, so that is something to consider. That said, I think that it sits very snugly to your wrist. I think the shape of these lugs really help with that. The bracelet itself is just really beautiful. I think it's a highlight of the watch. I really like wearing it on this bracelet. I think it's the way to go. And it does have this nice Benarus signature with the Megalodon right there. Nice, easy to adjust deployment clasp. And the links are also very easy to adjust. They've got a flathead screw on the side here for adjusting. I want to look really quickly at the accessories that come with the Megalodon. So most notably of which is this rubber strap that comes. It contours very nicely to the side of the case. And again, if you're just not looking to wear the watch as heavy, or just you're just not a fan of the metal bracelet, you can wear it with this rubber bracelet. It's quite nice. It also comes for taking this metal bracelet off. There are hex screws on the side of the bracelet for the lugs, and the watch does come with this nice tool. It's got a hex screw here, and then the back of it actually unscrews for another hex screwdriver. So you'll sort of put them on either side of the watch, unscrew the bracelet, and it's actually a really nice little tool to keep around and use with any of the watches in your collection. So to wrap things up, the Megalodon 500 by Benarus is a really pleasantly well-built and attractive watch that, given its quality components and build quality, we think is a good value at its price tag of about $850. What I think is really interesting about the watch and what makes it a little bit divisive is that it's got these great dive elements, the depth rating, the quality components, the sapphire crystal, the really high build quality, but at the same time has this very sort of unique design aesthetic to it that I think some tool dive enthusiasts won't really be that enthusiastic about. They're probably looking for a watch that has a numerical dial or that has an internal bezel that has numerals on it, something a little bit more practical. But for a whole sector of that market that is looking for a watch that's a little bit more designed, a little bit more interesting to look at, this really could be the perfect watch. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to read the full review on Worn and Wound. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter.